Hello and a very warm welcome to all the viewers to the very new episode of Zero Filter podcast. In today's episode, we are joined by a very special person who is Mr. Ujjwal Pasari, a chartered accountant by profession, having more than over a decade of experience. Currently, he is associated with Uber as a finance controller. Before that, he was working with Vistara, again in the finance domain. Mr. Ujjwal has been awarded with ICAI 40 Under 40 awards as well as one of the great achievers as per the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And he managed to clear his CA at a very young age of around 23. Today's episode is going to be revolving around how the careers are evolving these days. How do you manage to uh, handle the work pressure, and more importantly, how your success journey has been to inspire each one of us who is watching the podcast. So, Ujjwal, a very warm welcome to today's episode. Before we start, a basic introduction about you would do great if you can share a bit about your journey, how your journey has been.
Yeah, thanks, Prince. Thanks for having me on this episode. Very excited to have a conversation and share my insights and my journey. So, yeah, as a brief introduction, I am a chartered accountant. I qualified 10 years ago. And since then, I'm working into corporate and into multiple domains. I've been into financial reporting, I've been into FP&A. I'm now kind of handling tax and reporting again in my career. So, it's been a decade, been with multiple companies. As you said, I'm currently associated with Uber. And a brief about myself. I belong to Kanpur, UP, and I've also completed my schooling was from South India. It was from Coimbatore. So it's a bit of a not so normal mix demographically. So I've been to South till I was in South till my 12th standard. Then I completed my CA from Kanpur. Then I moved to NCR. I've been in the NCR for around 10 years now. Yeah, so that is a small brief.
Okay, it sounds interesting that there's a mixture of combination in your education. So, right from South India to the northern part of India, uh,
Yeah,
as well. And the most interesting thing I liked about your profile, one of the interesting things, there are many things definitely, that you cleared CA at a very young age. Uh, like many people dream of becoming a successful professional at a young age, and there are often many challenges that we come across while going through this journey. So, how did you
yeah.
manage to secure this success at a very early age?
Yeah, so I think it started very early when I was around in my 10th standard, and I was inspired by my cousin brother, so to say, who kind of cleared the course very early, and he was quite settled in his career, and and at that point in time, we didn't have a lot of financial liquidity, so that I could pursue something which is very expensive. So I had to narrow down to options which are kind of very not very expensive. They are kind of very reasonable on pocket, and also which give me a good career boost. So and also inspired by my cousin. So I thought that this is a good field, and I was very much interested into finance from my. I mean, generally I'm from a Marwadi family, so generally we are very good at calculation from a very young age. So
Mhm.
we see in our families, the calculations and hisab kitab every day because of the shops and all which we had. So finance always excited me, and because of as I told you, because of the reasons which I told you, so I had to. I thought this is a perfect option for me to pursue, and but yeah, but always what I was told always is that it's very tough to crack, and it's a very one-sided journey. If you pass, then it's good, and if you don't pass, then you land nowhere, and that's a harsh reality of the CA course. If you are not able to crack it, then you are
Mhm.
nowhere. So that was always in the mind, but I thought that, whosoever cracks it, they are also humans, right? So they are on, they are not from some other planet or something. So I had that confidence that I can do it. I mean, when I started it, it was that, and I also kept in mind that these are the 3 or 4 years where I'll have to sacrifice everything and I have to just crack this exam. So I kind of, isolated from, other things in life, whatever it
Mhm.
is, like all the and that point in time, thankfully there was no such no no social media
Okay.
for the distraction, no Netflix. So thankfully, at that point in time, I didn't have much to do other than my studies and just chilling around with my friends. So that was the thought process. I mean, just to give everything for that 3 4 years and come out with
Mhm.
a good result. I think that was the
Mhm.
thought process.
Okay, that's really interesting. And if someone is on that journey right now, who is battling with social media distractions, who is uh, looking at the Instagram profiles of successful people as well, and then comparing themselves,
Hmm.
what piece of advice would you like to share with somebody who is still in that journey of pursuing success?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, this one has to believe that everything on social media is not true. So everything is very glorious on social media, and they can get inspired by real life examples. As I said, in their family, there would be some people who would have succeeded, their friends, circles, and all those things. There, it's very good to get inspired by someone and try to follow them. And I think the main thought process which the younger people should keep in mind that, these are the 3 4 5 years of my life, where it is a make or break situation. So, I mean, but today you have a lot of options other than your studies also to make a career. Back in that point in time, we were only thought that, only studies lead to success and nothing else. You
Mhm.
have a lot of options, but my advice would be, first complete your studies because, this is something which will remain with you for a lifetime. And you can pursue everything else, you can explore anything else, but 3 4 5 years, if you are trying to pursuing CA, MBA, whatever, just think that, these are the 4 5 years in my life which I have to just do a tapasya kind of a thing or
Mhm.
devotion. So and do away with everything else. I mean, whether you have a good phone, you have a good car, doesn't matter. If you are successful later on, everything will come to you automatically. So this was my thought process at that point in time. My friends had good phones, good cars, and this and that at that point in time. But I had very basic phones, which
Mhm.
just served my purpose. So at that point, my focus was, if I get do good in life, this all will come automatically. So
Mhm.
not to kind of feel jealous with someone or comparing our lives because everyone's life is different. So
Mhm.
you cannot blame your parents if you're not from a very rich family because that is what it is. You can't change it by blaming it. You have to make that
Mhm.
change yourself. So I
Mhm.
think good idea is to think that, just keep this 4 5 years in focus, boost, put everything in this. I mean, whichever career you're trying to focus and achieve success. I mean, just think that, it's not impossible.
Mhm. Okay, I
Yeah.
think that's going to be a really valuable advice for somebody who is actually on that journey of going through all these
Mm.
struggles, which I think fortunately the previous generation didn't have to go through that much of the struggle. Reason being, the distractions were not of that high level that time. Uh,
Yeah, but yeah, I think about it sometimes, but there were some other things. For example, now I see people get the classes, they can attend classes at their home with the pen drive.
Mhm.
And we didn't have that option that day because technology helps you also, right? So
Mhm.
we didn't have that option to have the pen drive. I used to get up at 6 in the morning and go to the coaching class. At in December, January, there was peak winters, I could see anything and couldn't see anything on the road, and I would go to the classes. Then from there, I would go
Mhm.
to my articleship. Then again, I had a class in the night. So at that point in time, if I had this pen drive option or something, it would have been very helpful. I mean, it would have saved me a lot of time of traveling.
Mhm. Okay,
Yeah,
I think
so
yeah that
I think
that,
you
that
have to cut you have to prioritize, what distractions are there, what should matter, what should not matter.
Mhm. That's another way of looking at things. Every coin has two sides, so the
Yeah,
positive
definitely.
side and the negative side. And since you shared that you had a very hectic schedule, which being in CA profession we all have to go through, and anybody who is in any domain which requires a lot of learning and adaptability and application of things, and I think most likely in the finance domain it is way
Hmm.
more common. In every organization the finance domain is already always bustling with a lot of activities instead of the other departments, uh, comparative to the other departments. uh, Throughout your journey you must have had a few occasions of self doubt as well. uh, I would want you to highlight a bit on how did you manage to overcome the occasions at which you must have doubted yourself, or you must have looked at other people becoming more successful. How did you maintain that consistency that I have to stay on this path?
I think most importantly is self-confidence. I mean, it's a thin layer
Mhm,
between self-confidence and overconfidence, as we know. So there were, multiple occasions as it's there in everyone's life where I felt self-doubt. For example, when I started my career, I came from a very small city. I came from Kanpur here. I did my articleship also from a tier two city from there only. So when I came here, I saw people, who have done their articles from Big Fours, and they're able to speak much better than me in interviews and,
mhm,
so in the group discussions and all the forums. So I sometimes used to feel that, this is kind of overwhelming for me, coming from that place. So I think I thought that, whatever is there, whatever they can do, even I can do, because, I have the
mhm,
same sort of professional qualification as they have. It's only the matter of experience, right? So I think it's to have that self-confidence and work on yourself. I mean, then I also worked on, other than the technical skills, you have the technical skills, you have passed the exams. That's, I think, normal for everyone. So how do
mhm,
you develop that edge, that soft skill, that other skill of, speaking? And you have to identify where do you lack. I mean, I think self-realization is very important. I mean, that in my case, I was very good in the academics. So,
mhm,
and initially I was not very good in the soft skills, so to say. So that is a self-realization that everyone needs to have, that, which is the thing which you are very good at, and what are the things which you are not so good at. So try to work on that and, cope up with the world, because world is ever evolving.
mhm. I think, yeah, self-evaluation is a very important aspect that you touched upon. Unless we are aware of where we lack and where we can, excel, the whole game is different unless we are
Yeah.
self-aware. Uh, and let's say after clearing your CA, or someone who clears their, let's say, graduation, completes their graduation or post graduation, when they actually enter the job market,
Mm,
in the job domain, they often come across a totally different environment. It's like from academics you're transitioning to real life, wherein you will be expected to handle work pressure and deal with different problems at the same time. So how did you manage to avoid any type of, let's say, burnout situation, or any kind of a situation that leads to a lot of mess, because of which many professionals even end up quitting?
yeah, I think my funda is to break down things into different parts. I mean, first of all, you vision where do you want to reach. For example, if you're working on a project, what is the end goal that you are trying to achieve? And to achieve that end goal, how many steps do you need to perform? I mean, the critical steps, and just break down things into, multiple steps. That would help. And because if you look at the problem, because if you look at the CA exam also, if you look at as
Mhm,
a whole, it's very tough. And if you break down into subjects, it's like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. So I mean, what I generally do is I break down things into multiple steps, and I kind of try to tag a timeline to it, that, and kind of a bit aggressive timeline, so that if I complete it before on that timeline also, it's a bonus for me, and it has a buffer. So for
mhm,
example, I have divided it into 4 5 steps, that, this project has to be completed by next month. So I have 4 weeks. So this is the first week. I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do that. And if there are, I think if there are dependencies on someone else, I try to clear those dependencies first, because
mhm,
that person, he or she will also take their own time. So I think that is a good way to break down things, to sort the dependencies first. The thing which
mhm,
you need to do, you can do it at your comfort. You can do it on weekends. You can, if it is a pressure situation, but you cannot expect others to be on the same pace. So I think a good thing is to break down things, sort out the dependencies, as I said.
mhm. Okay, breaking down things into manageable parts so that they
Yeah,
don't seem as a huge task. They seem to be smaller goals, milestones that have to be achieved before we
correct.
target the big goal. Uh,
Hmm.
okay, that's a very I think thoughtful piece of advice. Someone would really want to who would really want to achieve a very big goal. Uh,
Hmm.
the natural flow should not be by starting or looking at the end result. It should be by looking at the milestones that will eventually lead to
Exactly.
the final outcome. So
Yeah.
And Ujjwal, would you like to share a few things that you like to do apart from your, the core job that, often we a lot of times hear the fact that profession is not everything. We need to be spending time to uh, develop ourselves as an individual as well. So, what, let's say, apart from your core finance role, do you like to invest time in?
So I think I'll take it this way that, there were a lot of things which I wanted to do when I was kind of pursuing CA or I was studying, and because of some reasons I could not do it. So
Mhm,
now, when I have the resources, I try to invest there. For example, very small things, like learning to swim.
mhm,
Um, I think I kind of invested there. I went to a academy. I learned swimming, and
mhm,
thankfully I'm a very good swimmer now. So that day, I mean, that was one of the things which I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of play some occasional cricket, a proper cricket on the nets or something, wherein,
mhm,
you have a lot of options to go on the weekend and do it. You can book
mhm,
some nets and you can do some drilling. It's not a kind of professional, so to say, but it's just for your satisfaction and just to get out of work. So
mhm,
that is what I do. I do some cooking, I look at different dishes which can be prepared, a lot of options
mhm,
nowadays online. So I try to do that. I try to cook. And recently I've also tried to do some DJing, which is
mhm,
bit not associated with a finance professional.
mhm,
But I found out someone who near my home who runs a studio. So I requested them, I contacted them, to learn. So I go there, I learn some basics and, trying to do something on that part. So
mhm,
that is how I try to do whatever I wish to do earlier. So I think I
mhm.
will take it that way. So it's
Okay.
a very small thing, but it's now it has been many years, but I started with learning to drive because
Mhm,
I always wanted to drive a car. I never had an option to drive or learn to drive. So first thing I think when I got some resources. I joined a driving school. I learned to drive. Then I went to swimming. Then I went to some other things. So that is what keeps me busy. I mean, keep me motivated also. So I try to find something or the other. Or, I like to travel a lot. So I will travel
mhm,
to a couple of countries. I like to explore the country on my own without any package, without anything,
mhm,
without any guide. So I go there, take the metros, take the buses like normal people do. So
mhm,
now I've kind of explored a lot of countries like that, and I like to go to movies. I like to watch movies on the theater. If there are good
mhm.
movies. So I think every weekend or I think every other weekend I'm at some other movie.
Okay. That's,
Yeah,
I think, that's a really nice thing, because why I asked you this question was because often what happens is, even when we are studying, even when we are working somewhere, we get so much involved in the core job that we think that weekends are just for, resting, or let's say
yeah,
not spending time anywhere, and then we forget about our hobbies or things we would have wanted to pursue earlier, and
mm,
then
yeah,
later there's a regret. So
yeah.
how do you manage to take out time for so many extra things apart from the core job? uh,
I think it's very simple. I mean, just have a timeline for yourself
mhm,
because work is never ending, as everyone knows, and everyone in this world has work, and
mhm,
for them, their work is never ending. So I think you have to treat work as work and life as life. I think there has to be a distinction. And so do best at your work, but
mhm,
do not kind of, do away with all the other things in life which you want to pursue. I mean, one of the things is staying healthy, take out time to do some workout. I mean, do anything which you like, so that is very important. We kind of not do it, we don't do it for long lot of years and then realize that it's late now.
mhm,
So I think it's very simple. I mean, keep work as work, life as life. And and it's not always a 50-50 balance kind of. You have to shift the balance, right? So
mhm,
sometimes if there are deadlines, then you have to do work. You cannot say that, I'm leaving this and going for my workout. So
mhm,
it doesn't work that way because we are professional. We have a lot of responsibility on us.
mhm,
So the company and the management is, trusting us, for their work. So I think when there are deadlines, when there is when you are expected to, perform more, then shift that balance to your work side. But when you find that there's some lean time, or on your regular days, just try to build a habit or something, of doing something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I think a line that you beautifully mentioned was keep life as life and work as work, because often there's a lot of overlap happening that we are unable
Yeah.
to come out of, and then it leads to a complete mess at both the sides,
Correct.
even at work
Correct.
and even at the personal aspect as well.
Mm,
Uh,
mm,
and there's a lot of, I would say, discussion these days going on, Ujjwal, and you must have also heard about this, that uh, today there are, there's a lack of good opportunities in the market for finance domain. Particularly we can focus on the finance part, because often what happens is, uh, students who are applying for, let's say, roles in finance, they often end up getting either a role in some other, let's say, admin operations or something like that, and they're not able to crack the exact core finance domain job profile. uh, what, according to you, could be the possible gap being on the other side of the spectrum? Let's say you are in the industry, as compared with somebody who is outside that and would want to enter. Where do you think that the gap lies?
I think based on my experience, one is I think there is a lot of supply and
Mhm,
there's a demand supply gap. So, for example, if I want to hire someone, I'll be not be able to find easily the right guy, but I'll be easily able to find 100 wrong guys. So
mhm,
that that selecting the right guy for the right job is a, I would say it's a mismatch. And there are agencies, there are consultants who try to manage that gap. But I
mhm,
think somewhere or the other there still lies a gap, because in my personal experience, in my previous organization, I used to hire for my team. So it used to be a nightmare for me, because when I s- sat down and selected CVs, I couldn't find a right CV, but I could always find the wrong CVs. So
mhm,
that is, I think there is a oversupply, and people just apply left, right, and center wherever they want to, because there's a desperation also which kicks in, and they're not wrong, because if you have if you are done with your studies, then you seriously you sometimes you quickly need a job. You can't be sitting at home. There's a family pressure. There's a lot
mhm,
of pressure. You have a loan on your head, so that is understandable, because people need job desperately. So I think the suggestion would be, to try the new alternate careers which have come up now. For example, the GCCs, a lot of GCCs have come up in India, where you manage the work from India for outside countries. I mean, there's a
mhm,
new domain. I mean, there's a lot of domains, but someone can go there. There are core accounting finance roles which come up there. It's
mhm,
just not anymore the back end roles which earlier used to be. So,
mhm,
and there are new roles in tax technology, and wherein automation is used. Finance guys are going into automation, and
mhm,
SAP, Oracle, all these things. So I think that is there. I mean, and one of the things is that uh, keep whatever you're doing, just take it as a learning. And
mhm,
it's not that, sometimes I see people get onto a job and they feel like, this is not my domain. And I want to do this, I want to do that. But you're too early in your career to decide that, right? I mean, if you
mhm,
have got something, just take it as a learning, just learn whatever that job gives you. And in my career, I've learned that every job gives you a lot of learning. Anything
mhm,
which you are doing, you have come from outside world, you've come into a corporate. So every job title or every work gives you a lot of learning. So I've experienced it myself. And I never take it like that, that this is not my domain, this is not what I'll do. So because there's a lot of learning in everything. When there's a shift in the domain, because you'll see there have been some shifts in my career as well. So that
mhm,
shift helps you also. Your mind, is used to working in a way, and it gives you challenges, working in some other way also. So keep looking out for opportunities. Don't shy away from trying new things. Don't keep yourself constrained into some one or two profiles, because your world is moving very fast. You don't know what is going on. And if you are in your bubble that, I'll do only this, sometimes maybe some year down the line, that profile might not be relevant itself.
mhm.
So I think that is what I think.
Okay, I think there are two, three key insights that would be useful from what you shared. The early stage professionals need not randomly apply for any job domain. They need to be
Yeah.
carefully doing the research before applying. uh, and then they need to be adaptable. They need to be
Hmm.
keeping themselves updated, and keep learning new things. And along with this, in the initial part of the career, they need not stick to particular options that I just want to
Yeah.
enter this domain only, and then let's say uh,
Hmm.
rejecting the other options that are not probably of their
Yeah.
too much interest right now. So
Yeah. For
uh,
example, if someone is very desperate to get a job, I mean, and if he's getting
mhm,
something, just don't think that this is not for me or I'll not be doing this, because you learn it, you learn anything.
mhm,
Whatever you do, you learn. So have some patience, and just don't be jumping because of that you're not getting your domain. So because every domain has a lot of learning.
mhm. Okay, so it seems you need to be boarding the train early in order to reach your destination. You can change the trains, change the destination later as well, but initially you just need to start first to enter with the
Yeah,
right,
I
or,
mean,
or
we have
anything
to
that is good.
enter. Exactly. And
Mhm,
someone has to first analyze, if they're
mhm,
getting any value addition or not after,
mhm,
you work for some months and you get to know whether you're getting some value addition in your CV or not, or on your work profile. And if that stage you feel like there's nothing which is adding value to me, I mean, either you're learning a new software, you're learning some new skill, you're learning about a new industry, and then if you think I'm learning something which is not adding value to me, so I think that is a separate discussion. Then that is a separate case, I
mhm,
think.
mhm. Okay, I think yes, definitely this is going to be really insightful. And Ujjwal, when we were conversing, as you shared that you have spoken with professionals from various countries, right? You often have discussions with people from various countries who are working in different work cultures. Would like to get your insights on that part. When you interact with professionals or people from different countries, how do you think we as Indians, or how our work culture is different in comparison with the other
Mhm.
countries?
I think the best part is that, the profession which we are into, I mean, would like to specially mention on the syllabus which ICAI has built. So
Mhm,
it's a very rigorous syllabus, and when you interact with a lot of finance professionals in the other countries, you don't feel like you are undervalued anywhere, and you're lacking any skill, because you are up to the game. I mean, the profession
mhm,
teaches you a lot and lot. So when I think interact with I think around the globe, all the western part, the eastern part, and I think the Indian professionals are treated with a lot of respect, and the
mhm,
general observation for us is that we are very hardworking, and we are smart working, and the young generation of India is capable of doing a lot of work quickly, I mean, strategically, and we are not just for, documentation work, or some, just for the, what do you say, just for the admin work.
mhm,
So I think that message is clear now, that we are not just for admin or such tasks. We are more than that. And you would see in the IT sector, there are a lot of people, flourishing in the IT sector, and there are setups in India where they're doing the work for outside the countries which are outside India. And I think that is true for the finance professional also. So a lot of people who are in the big fours in the industries, they are working, on the financials of other countries sitting in
mhm,
India. So that requires a lot of skill, right? I mean, you don't know the local laws there, but still you are able to manage, because based on your education, you know the concepts very good. Your conceptual clarity is very good. So
mhm.
I think the institutes and the professionals of India are treated with high regard, and we are very professional. I mean, we take work. I think that's in our blood. We give work a lot of priority, right? So I think that is clear with all the people, that they'll do a fantastic job, and that
Mhm.
is why we see a lot of opportunities coming to India now.
Okay, so that was towards the positive part. Anything do you think we as professionals collectively from India need to be working on? If that thing could be made better, then it is going to be a totally different game.
I think could be on, you know, it's sometimes on the work life thing. We
Mhm,
don't take the work life thing seriously sometimes. I mean, a lot
mhm,
of people have started doing it now. But a lot of people I still see they just prioritize their work, so
Mhm.
they are kind of sometimes overwhelmed with work, and they don't even try to speak that out, and
Mhm.
they're like, I'm made for that. So uh, just don't think that way. I mean, keep yourself balanced, and the people outside our country respect a lot of work-life balance, and sometimes which we don't do. So I
Mhm.
think that could be improved. Even we can manage our work and life together like the other people do.
Mhm. And I think collectively as a culture, we don't see these things as common or prevalent as they are in the other countries. Maintaining a
Exactly.
work-life balance, having strict deadlines, or let's say having a
Yeah.
strict separation between the personal and the professional life. There's a
Yeah.
lot of
Having a
overlap.
fitness routine,
Mhm.
having a fitness routine, having a hobby, and
Mhm.
something like that.
So, even I can share from my experience. I've spoken with people from outside our country, and even if they are doing some basic jobs, they don't even have that much of resources as well. Financially, they're not that well versed, but still, they manage to get time for extra activities. Let's say cycling,
Yeah.
reading some books, or going for
Mm-hmm.
swimming, going for a walk. And I think the life is a bit slower there in comparison with what our mind works like. We're like
Yeah,
constantly
I think
thinking about.
I think there's a basic difference of competition. I mean, we have in our country
Mhm.
there's a lot of competition. So if you lack somewhere, you are easily replaceable, right? So
Yes.
I think that's a fear which we have, that if I don't prioritize my work, I can be replaced. And I think that is there, but yeah,
So this brings me to another question. That today, as we can see, we are around more than 150 crore uh, Indians, and there's a lot of competition. And no matter what type of job domain we go into, let's say
hmm,
government exams, or let's say medical engineering. Engineering, we all know what has happened to that sector, and then
yeah.
finance, HR. Everywhere, there's a lot of tough competition. So anybody who is right at the start of their career, uh, what advice would you give to them for succeeding in the long run, and maintaining that consistency so that they can keep updating and be successful and not be replaced by anyone who is more competent?
Yeah, I think the basics are, just keep your mind open,
Mhm.
and, just don't keep doing what the other people are doing, and keep exploring, some other things in life. I mean, just don't think that, this is what is my, as I earlier said, that this is the only profile which I can work into, and this is only what I am made to do. So I think good way is to keep exploring, keep your mind open, and have a general knowledge of what's going around in the world, and how the world is shifting, and uh, having an edge. I mean, if you want to succeed and in a country like India, so out of 100, you'll have to keep 70, 80 people out of your range, because you have to
Mhm.
be in that top 10, 20% to get there. So how do you kind of move ahead from 70, 80 people? What is
Mhm.
that you are doing extra which the other people are not doing? So
Mhm.
that there's no one, there's no one thumb rule which will fit all. I mean,
Mhm.
it doesn't work that way. Everyone has to find their own niche. What is their interest? And I
Mhm.
think in their work domain itself, if they're doing something, how could they learn something else also, or contribute to other than what they're used to do? I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes you say it as getting, out of the box, getting out of your way to do something, because we think that this is only my responsibility. I'll do only this. But
Mhm.
what if you go a step ahead and do whatever you're not supposed to do also, right?
Mhm.
So that will make you think, oh, I can do this also. So I can
Mhm.
take a bigger role also, because so that is the mindset. I think that is keeping your mind open, and just not keeping yourself restricted into one industry, one domain. You have to have that confidence that, I can do it. If there's a
Mhm.
change, if there's something, if there's a new system, learn it. I mean, instead of opposing it, or instead of getting afraid of it, I mean, it's better to learn that, it's better to utilize that, it's better to keep exploring profiles of your
Mhm.
interests. Say, for example, if you're working and you think that the other profiles which you see people working are more are interesting, and you one day you want to explore that, then
Mhm.
I mean, just have a view. I mean, what do you want to learn? What will you have to improve in yourself to get there? So
Mhm.
I think a clear example would be in our case, if someone is into tax or reporting and he wants to get into strategic finance or the other domain or FP&A. So what do the other that guys have that you don't have? I mean, they have the operational knowledge, they work on the other financial concepts, so that even the other person can do, right? I mean, not
Mhm.
on the work, but beside work, they can practice, they can do something, if they want to change the profile, say tomorrow. So
Mhm.
they can prove themselves that, I have that caliber.
Mhm. Okay, okay. You talked about mindset part. What often happens is in our youth, especially today, not everybody is able to crack the top tier college entrance exams, let's say IITs, IIMs, and many students or early stage professions, they either come from tier two, tier three colleges or let's say universities, and then right in the very first attempt of entering the industry they feel we are not competent enough because we don't have that much of quality of education, or we
Yeah.
might not be able to succeed in comparison with those professionals. So do you think the college or the university from which we are getting the degree, the certification, does that matter a lot in the success of an individual?
I think that matters to give you a gateway,
Hmm.
definitely. I mean, to give you a entry into something, a stamp gives you a lot of benefit. So, for example, if you are from a reputed university, if you are, uh, for example, if you're a CA versus a non-CA, for example, so
Hmm.
a CA will be whether, now depends. There are two people, exactly everything is same. One is qualified, one is not qualified, right? So
Hmm.
the cream work or the other work which is kind of a polished work will go to the C automatically because of his degree. And
Hmm.
later on, he'll be judged that, whether he is capable of doing that or not. So
Hmm.
that part comes later, the judgment part. But the initial gateway is very easy for a profession of top tier
Hmm.
profession, and the other person will, get only job which is with a qualified person does not want to do, which is
Hmm.
more of a admin and operational job. So that is definitely there, and I think that makes a lot of difference on the initial part. But if you prove yourself otherwise, then I've seen people who are not qualified, who are not from tier one institute, making it a good reputation about themselves and gaining a lot of confidence with the management and the leaders.
Hmm.
So again, it's about the mindset, because definitely the person with a qualification will have an edge. But again, having that confidence in yourself, that whatever I have given to do, I'll prove it. I'll go beyond my duties and deliver something which will kind of, make others think that, no, he's not made for this. He's made for something better. So I think
Hmm.
someone has to prove it.
Hmm. Okay, so it means that the entry can be a bit easy for a person who is
Yeah.
having that fancy tag with themselves, but in the long run, the consistency and the effort of the person who is, probably making the effort has a high possibility of succeeding in comparison with somebody who is just up with the certification and not with the right skills.
Yeah, I mean, down the line, it just depends on how you work, how you are delivering. So
Mhm.
maybe the person with the qualification, he may fail 3 months, 6 months down the line because of the pressure, because he's not good with handling pressure, he's not good with handling people, but he has a lot of technical skills, but he's not able to implement them, and he's not able to, break the work, make the timelines, and he fails the timelines. So I think that makes a difference later on.
Mhm. Okay. Uh, I think yes, good for somebody who is just at their starting phase of the career. They need not feel like what our future is going to be in comparison with somebody who is already having an edge
Hmm.
right in the beginning,
Yeah.
because that edge is not going to be lasting for too long of a period if you
Hmm.
focus on the right skills. Uh, and these days there's a lot of buzz going around artificial intelligence and the evolution of each and every profession. So you being in the finance domain for the past almost a decade, uh, do you think that that evolution has started coming particularly in the finance domain, and if yes, to what extent, and how do you see the future?
I think it has started impacting the admin and the operational jobs, I would say. The repetitive jobs where there is less use of your brain and more use of, and there are more volumes, so to say, to make it easy, where there are more volumes, less brains, right? So say for example, invoice processing in the system. So
Mhm,
earlier a person used to scan the invoice, he used to see whether this is as per the PO or not. He used to post an entry in the system. So that's the job which he's doing 100 times a day. He's just
mhm,
doing the same thing, which a system can be trained, right? The system can be trained to read the invoice, to compare it with the PO, whether to see whether there are all the approvals or not. So
mhm,
I think that kind of jobs have started getting automated, and the jobs where there is, a use of more human brain, and the things are scattered and they're not as easy, they're not as repetitive as,
mhm,
and there can be a change every time, every quarter. Say, for example, there is some other thing, some other change which a human has to apply his mind and judgment.
mhm.
So I think there it is that AI has still not impacted, but the repetitive jobs, yes.
So that transformation has already started happening, and probably 5-10 years down the line, it is going to be a totally different picture altogether.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, whatever is repetitive, I mean, that will
Mhm,
start changing. So if there's a quarterly thing which is just the same, which a system can be trained to do, there
mhm,
are 100 steps which you need to do, and a system can be trained. I think that down the 5 years, 10 years down the line, they'll start implementing those systems.
mhm. So, on a lighter side, I saw a recent trend. I think it was on Twitter that ChatGPT was down for a couple of hours, and professionals all across the globe were very, anxious that we are unable to craft the emails, we are unable to do
Yeah.
this, we are unable to do that, as if it exposed a vulnerability that how much of a reliance has started happening on the AI
Yeah.
part. So, what do you think about this?
I think that's true. I think that's true for everyone. I think in our day-to-day life, we have started believing whatever AI says. And I think we'll have to control ourselves and make our judgments also, because AI generally speaks both the things. I mean, the positives and the negatives. So
Mhm,
whatever you ask AI, it tells you both the things. It never gives you a one answer that, you do this and go
mhm,
just do this, this will be solved. So it will give you both the perspectives. So
mhm,
again, the end call has to be taken by someone which is a human. But
mhm.
yeah, I think it's a lot of reliance nowadays, and sometimes it helps, but uh, I'm not sure what will happen going ahead.
Okay, so especially for someone who's just starting or an early stage professional, they need not rely a lot on the AI part, because at least somebody who is experienced can use it based on their
Yeah,
requirement.
yeah,
But somebody
yeah,
who's just
yeah.
starting, they might miss out on many opportunities to learn as well, because they're getting ready-made
Yeah,
solution.
if you take the help of AI, so you're not kind of improving your basics, right? And as you rightly
Mhm,
said, an experienced person has done all that already. So
mhm,
he or she can use that for the basic concepts. But someone who is
mhm,
just starting the career, if everything is based on AI, then you're not digging deeper into things and you're just relying on, whatever it is throwing.
mhm,
So if you're looking at some financial numbers, why don't you go and check the financial statements yourself of that
mhm,
company which is published on BSC and on the stock exchanges, rather than whatever AI is telling you, just take that number, because
mhm,
there might be some adjustments, there might be some one-time accounting adjustment which AI will not be able to tell you. And
mhm,
if you are analyzing that by downloading it, by reading the management commentary, so I think for the professionals who have just started, I think that's a good way to do it.
mhm. Okay, okay. And regarding the AI part, there's a term which is going on these days, which is called the AI psychosis, wherein humans are not able to differentiate between or separate what the reality is versus what the AI generated world is. We are so involved with AI conversations, day to day questions, that
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
we feel as if someone is sitting on the other side and then responding to us. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
which probably is going to be of a massive impact towards the negative side, maybe if it is not
yeah,
controlled. uh, and which will, regarding the evolution of the finance domain as a career, what do you think apart from AI, like are the opportunities in finance going to be increasing in the coming few, let's say, years, and which are the core or the hot profiles which early stage professionals should be targeting for?
I think definitely the opportunities will increase. Keeping in mind the growth of our country and how we are evolving, and
Mhm,
we are providing services to the globe, not only to the Indian companies. And keeping in mind the Indian companies also, they are expanding rapidly now. This
mhm,
we have so many unicorns, and there's earlier, if you just think earlier, if you think of a toothpaste, you just had one or two brands in your mind, right? And think
mhm,
of it today, and you have 10 brands, which is
mhm,
organic, this, that, everyone is doing everything. So, there are so many startups, so everyone will have to manage their finances. So there will be a lot of demand, I think, going ahead also. And
mhm,
I think the hot areas would be one, I think, would definitely be on the automation,
mhm,
because now the organization wants to automate the manual tasks, as I said. So there would be tools, for example, the SAP, the Oracle. There are multiple other tools which coordinate with SAP and Oracle to manage your, for example, accounting and all the basic things. So I think that is a good sector to
mhm,
explore if someone wants is interested in IT and AI. So
mhm,
how to, how are people using SAP and other things, integrating that with AI and automating their finance processes. That is
mhm,
a good domain, I think. Other than that, your strategic finance, because generally strategic finance is not very much monotonous. It's not the
mhm,
same thing which a system can get trained. I mean, there are a lot of changing variables, and and you have to deal with a lot of variables in together, at once. So, example would be, if you change any of the assumptions, your PNL will change in a lot of ways. Then
mhm,
your cash flow will change in a lot of ways. So, person who has the knowledge of all these things, who can link the operations and the business and the finance all together. I mean, that's what strategic finance does. So, I mean, those kind of roles are there. And I think these are there. I think other than that, there's treasury, there's, if I talk about the core financing, which is the financial reporting,
mhm,
taxation, taxation is very, it's not that easy. It's every country has their rules and regulations, and there are changes, there are ever evolving changes in tax. So
mhm,
I think that's also a good profile. So there are a lot of good profiles still, which
mhm.
someone can focus on.
So the core idea I get from this is aim for the profiles that do not have a possibility of getting replaced by AI in the coming years. Because if there's a lot of
Yeah.
repetition in the domain or the type of work that is required in that domain, then it might get replaced in the future by some
Yeah, I
automation
mean,
tools.
you have to think that what is the value which you are adding to the organization,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
So if there's not much of value which you as a person are adding and the system can replace you, then I
mhm,
think few years down the line, maybe the system would be doing it for you.
mhm,
But if you are doing something which is, a bit technical and requires judgment, so I think that will still be relevant. And I think the systems will be there. I think what will happen is that if someone needs 50 people now, they'll need 20 people, right? So
mhm,
we have to try to be in that 20 to
mhm,
to be, relevant.
mhm. So adaptability is the key. We need to
Yeah,
be alert as to what all updates are happening in
definitely.
the
Mm,
industry we are
mm.
in. Okay, and Ujjwal, if let's say somebody who is an early stage professional who is just starting out their career, what are the three key skills you would be suggesting them to master so that they can just kickstart or let's say start confidently in the interview, answering the questions and show themselves as a skillful professional. What do you suggest could be the core three skills?
I think one would be on the soft skills, definitely.
Mhm,
And I mean, your technical skills are already there. I'm assuming that you have come from a, from a good university, from wherever you've done your studies. So
mhm,
definitely you have that technical knowledge, but I think working on the soft skills and how to, how do you say, how to set you settle yourself in a corporate, how to
mhm,
get used to that culture, and how to get going. So that is something which you learn on job. I mean, so you when you are studying, when you are a student, there's a different life. When you enter into corporate, there's a different life. You have to manage a lot of people, and a
Mhm.
lot of people have a lot of emotions. They have their
Mhm.
own ways of working. So everyone is not same. And how do you get your work done? I mean, end of the
Mhm.
day, your technical skill won't work if the deadline has crossed and you're
Mhm.
not able to extract data from someone where you needed it. So I think that skill, how to get things going, I think
Mhm.
that is a good skill to work on, which forms part of your soft skill, how you deal with people. I
Mhm.
think that's a very good thing. And one would be, how do you carry yourself, right? How
Mhm.
do you dress? How do you present yourself? You keep yourself shabby, you keep yourself neat and clean. What
Mhm.
kind of clothes you wear? Sometimes you'll hear people saying that all this doesn't matter, it's all your technicals, your work.
Mhm.
And I think, but somewhere or the other, there's this image that you carry, the demeanor which you carry matters a lot. I mean,
Mhm.
how are you presenting yourself? How you are, I think so. Someone can work on that. I mean, if they think that they need to improve, so they
Mhm.
can look at people, successful people in their organizations. How are they carrying themselves, and
Mhm.
how are they talking? How are they presenting? So I think that matters a lot. And I think third would be to, you know, maintaining an edge over your career. I mean, uh, over your profile or over your work. Just don't be doing whatever you're doing for years, or just keep on doing. I mean, try to do
Mhm.
different things. I mean, if it is not required on your work profile, that's fine. But you you never know when there's an opportunity, or keep
Mhm.
yourself ready. What I try to say, and it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you keep hours and hours to something. Say for example, if you are into a FP&A profile. This is,
Mhm.
I think, I would say more relevant from my journey. So I was into a FP&A profile where there were not day-to-day interactions, or day-to-day use of IFRS or the tax
Mhm.
rules, or the core accounting principles and all those things. But somewhere or the other, I used to kind of read them, whatever is getting used in my domain, in my industry. I have to be top of it. If there's an update in the IFRS, uh, how is that impacting the accounting? How is that impacting the taxation? So it's that, no, I'm not responsible for that tax filing, or I am not responsible for that audit, but at least conceptually I should be aware, right?
Mhm.
If someone asks me tomorrow, I can't be saying that it's not my domain, so I don't know. So
Mhm.
I think that is what the advice is, that keep something going on other than your base profile. So that way you'll have an edge always.
Mhm. Okay, so I think this is relevant for not only somebody who is in core finance, relevant for everybody who is just starting out with their career, be it tech,
Yeah,
HR, admin, or whatever it is. Uh, and I think often what we miss is the X factor that we are able to add on, or we are able to show to the recruiters, because there are 100 people sitting right in that interview, or
yeah,
even more
yeah,
than that, having the same set of skills with the same set of descriptions in the profile. So how do we separate ourselves from them is the
yeah.
key
And sometimes your
here.
hobbies also play an important role. I mean, what are you
Mhm.
doing other than work? I mean, the work everyone is doing, right? So sometimes your hobby also gives your CV an edge. That
Mhm.
you are good into other things also other than just work.
Mhm. Okay, and Ujjwal, you talked about soft skills part. I believe you, being at such a senior role in finance domain, you must have come across situations in which, or conversations in which there are high stakes involved. So, how do you prepare yourself for conversations that are going to be, having a huge impact on the, let's say, professionals you're working with, the organization you're working with? So, how do you manage to, perform well in such situations?
I think the key to that is being a bit proactive before
Mhm.
that big meeting or something. Knowing your audience well. I mean, whom are you going to talk to, and what could be questions at their level? I mean, for
Mhm.
you, something might be which might be not relevant, but
Mhm.
at the level of the audience which you are going to present something, they might be very interested in something. So I mean, being a bit proactive and preparing in advance,
Mhm.
what could the questions come up? What extra could I do to, just tackle anything out of
Mhm.
this? So I think that's a good idea to do that beforehand.
Mhm. So preparation beforehand, making sure the level of the audience you're going to be, speaking with, and then the possible counter questions that can
Yeah,
arise. You
yeah.
need to be
Hmm,
prepared for them beforehand.
hmm, hmm,
Okay,
hmm.
okay. I think that's a very solid piece of advice. And uh, Ujjwal, I think it has been, a great conversation till now. Uh, I would want to ask you towards the end a few couple of more questions. Although I want to ask more, but since we have to be having a time limit, otherwise the viewers would be like, it's getting too much. So
Yeah,
Ujjwal, first of all, how does success at this stage feel like when you reflect back at your student life, at your student journey? Do you think all that effort or all that time that you sacrifice instead of investing that in the extra activities, which probably at your age that time many people would have been doing, calling it that we are enjoying life? Do you think all
yeah.
that sacrifice was worth it or not?
I think the first instance that I would say is that definitely it was worth it. I mean,
Mhm.
it once you sacrifice some years and get some good degree and get into a good corporate life, you feel stabilized. You feel
Mhm.
settled in life. You don't need to worry about small things, day-to-day things. You are more focused on your work. You're dealing with good set of smart people around
Mhm.
you, and talking to and having a company of good professional people. So,
Mhm.
which is definitely adding a lot of value to your life because everyone is so good in their work. You feel there's a good healthy competition around you. So
Mhm.
and you think that it's a good thing which I've achieved. Yeah, so I think definitely it is I would say it's worth sacrificing your time, and it's I think true for everything. It's just not
Mhm.
for the profession which we are into. I think at that stage in life where you want to feel that generally people feel that going out, partying, chilling, it's generally way of enjoying life, but
Mhm.
there's a regret later on. I think I've personally seen people which now regret it, down the line. So I would definitely say that it's worth investing your time in something which you are interested. And sometimes whether you're not even interested, you want to make things happen, right? You want to crack something which sometimes not be 100% of your interest, but keeping into mind your family needs, keeping into mind your
Mhm.
other things, your financial dependence. It's very necessary.
Mhm. Okay, so all in all, it was worth it.
Yeah,
And
it was definitely worth it. I mean, sometimes I also think that if I would have pursued something else and
Mhm.
I would have succeeded more, but I think that's never ending, that
Mhm.
there's no age to learning, as I said, even I'm learning something or the other today. So
Mhm.
whatever I used to think I could have learned at that point in time, I'm doing it not as a profession, but as a hobby, because at that point in time, taking a different career, would have been very risky, which I
Mhm.
would not have been able to afford. So it depends on the person, and the family support. If they are supported and they are ready to take on a risk, then I think definitely they should go ahead and take that also.
Mhm.
Because, if you're investing your peak time somewhere, then try to make it big. I mean, if someone
Mhm.
is getting into, for example, music, it wants to get into something like video creation, like now there are a lot of other options other than studies also. So
Mhm.
I think, but do it to achieve best, right? Because you don't want to 10 years down the line regret that, at that point in time, I would have better if I would have studied. So
Mhm.
whatever you want to do, just do it the best.
Mhm. I think, yeah, that's really a practical way of thinking about it, because uh, a bit of a sacrifice can transform the whole life altogether in the coming years down the line. Uh, and particularly about the CA profession, as you talked about, that there are many options available today, and students or professionals are looking at other ways of making a living as well. What in particular do you have in mind about chartered accountancy as a profession? How has it evolved, or what do you think about what the future of this domain is going to be, uh, from your
So I
experience?
yeah, I think it's still very relevant and a very good profile, very good course for someone who is looking at a ROI, and which is a
Mhm,
very high ROI. I mean, you just how much do you need to become a CA now? I think a lakh or 2 lakh rupees. I mean, in total, keeping
mhm,
into mind your registration fees, your coachings, and this and that, and the return which you get is exceptional. You know, when you qualify, when you get a job, you don't have a loan on your head. You are independent. I mean, you whatever you're earning for yourself, and you're not getting paid less even as a fresher. I mean, it has not
mhm,
drastically increased over the years, I would say, but it's still not very less also. And
mhm,
the only change I think which has happened over the years is that, earlier it just used to be good that you have qualified the exam and that is what was required. And if you
mhm,
have qualified the exam, then later on somewhere or the other you'll get something and you'll settle. But I think today it's about, being in that top some percentage of people which have something else other than the exam qualification. For
mhm,
example, a good articles or an industrial training at a very good
mhm,
place. Something which is other than
mhm,
the normal CA exams which you have cracked. If you have a very good name under your internship or
mhm,
in your industrial training, something that you have done. So I think that would have a very good edge. And even if not that, if you just qualified the exam, post qualification, you'll have to work a lot upon yourself. It's not like earlier years, just clearing the exam and you get a good placement. And there's a lot of competition now. So I
mhm,
think that is what the evolvement has happened. And if someone is ready to, work hard in their 4, 5 years of career, it's CA is still a very good option. It gives you very good entry points later on in your career. And
mhm,
post CA, you can work upon yourself. You can work into many finance domains. As I said, the course syllabus is very good. You never feel
mhm,
that, you are lacking somewhere, across the globe.
mhm.
So yeah,
And I think it breaks that myth as well, that a good degree always is going to be landing you with a good job. Uh, Now the game has altogether changed. We'll
yeah,
have to keep adapting, keep learning new things, keep working on soft skills in order to succeed, no matter what the qualification part is, because
definitely.
ultimately it's our work which is going to be speaking.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, and Ujjwal, towards the end, I would like to ask you a final question. Uh, Somebody who is in their 20s, or let's say who are just starting out their careers, who are a bit confused and are probably afraid of making this transition from academic life to entering the industry. How is it all going to work out? How am I going to be succeeding? And what career pathway shall I be following? So what core three advices would you be willing to share with professionals, early stage professionals, students who are just starting out and want to succeed in the long run?
I would say, I think first would be keep your family in mind. And I think that is the most important. What is the exact, I think, immediate need of your family, right? So, if, for example, the immediate need is to get a job quickly and start earning, because a lot of family have that, that you need to start earning very quickly in
Mhm,
life. So, I think that's the priority. Then kind of take your career that way, then don't get into something which will cost a lot of money to your family, and it's the returns are not guaranteed. For
mhm,
example, a lot of people enter CA because of that. And
mhm,
I think somewhere or the other, even I entered because of that reason. Because, if you don't have a lot of funding for your education, so don't put your family into stress and,
mhm,
get them take loans and all those things. So there are many options which you can enter into which are low ROI, which you can get going, and
mhm,
you can pursue something later on with your earnings if you are very much interested in something else.
mhm,
If, for example, someone is interested more into content creation or something other which has come now, so you can very well do it later on also, right, when you started earning and you're making money. I think that is the first thing which is very important.
mhm,
Second, I think is definitely what makes you what motivates you. For it's not that, post year also you get a job, and it's not necessary that that job is motivating you every day. Not
Mhm,
necessarily. I mean, so you would be not wanting to go to office. So if you are in that situation in life, then definitely have a think about it, and either try to get into some other field or get into some other company. I mean, if there is something wrong and you're not getting motivated daily to go to work,
mhm,
I think that's a main motivation. Whatever you're doing, I mean, if you're
mhm,
doing anything, you have to get up and be motivated, right, to go to work. That I'll do this
mhm,
today. You have plans to do that. If you have nothing to do, you don't want to, you're not interested in doing, you're kind of not motivated. So there's something wrong.
mhm,
So I think that is there. I think, and the third one I would say is whatever work you get, I mean, post your academics, and that try to excel in that. Don't
mhm,
think that it's a petty job which has been given to me. Even if it is a manual punching job, you can improve on that, right?
mhm,
You can suggest improvements that, based on my this much experience, I can think that this can be improved. And
mhm,
when you do that, you get that edge over others, that, people start thinking that, this guy or the girl is made for bigger things,
mhm,
not this. So whatever you get in life initially, just take it as a learning. Just try to do the best in that. I mean, just don't do the task just for the heck of it, that, I have to just clear it off my checklist and give it to someone else.
mhm. Okay, okay. I think that's a very solid foundation to start on and build on something that lasts for a long period of time in terms of our career success. Uh, I think it was nice talking to you, Ujjwal. All the set of insights which you have shared, right from the academic life to the uh, current profession challenges that you overcome and maintaining a work-life balance, and then towards the and how the evolution is going to be happening. I think it was a great uh, set of insights that you shared, and it was a pleasure talking to you. And I believe the listeners, the viewers, are definitely going to be finding it very, very valuable as well. So, thanks a lot for coming and spending your time, Ujjwal, for this podcast. I really appreciate that. Towards the end, I would just like to say that it's because of professionals like you who are able to share real life insights which they are going through, which is of value to the generation who is still on that stage of
Yeah.
building something. If there's a guiding factor, I think if during our times, if there would have been conversations like this which we could have referred to, then it would have been a different game altogether. So I think it was really nice speaking to you, which will towards the end, if you have any closing message you would like to share with the viewers, to the listeners, definitely I'm more than happy to listen to that.
Yeah, thanks, Prince. I mean, for this incredible initiative which you have taken. This is something which not a lot of professionals think about doing. So this is, as your LinkedIn says, unconventional. So this is truly unconventional which you're
Mhm,
doing. So it's a great initiative, I think, to share thoughts on real life work for the use of people who are just entering their professional life, first into their student life, which is kind of something which will they won't get it somewhere else. So it's a very
mhm.
good initiative from you, and I was very happy and excited to be here and talk to you. And I hope this helps a lot of students and anyone who listens to this. I mean, I think it's adding value to their life somewhere.
Okay. Okay. I think thank you so much, Ujjwal. Thank you so much for these kind words. It was really nice interacting with you. Looking forward to having more conversations like this in the future on different topics. Would be
Yeah,
more than happy
thanks,
to
Prince.
welcome you to another episode. So thank you so much, Ujjwal. It was a nice experience, and looking forward to catching up with you in the future sometime.
Thanks, Prince. Thanks.
Thanks. Thanks.